What's up, guys? I've learned so many lessons from Funnel Hacking Live. I talked about it a little bit before, but I haven't talked about it fully, so I'm kind of just dripping out that content a little bit. So I wanted to talk about something that I learned from Steven Larson. He spoke on day one, and what he talked about is how marketers are drug dealers. So I want to tell you a little bit about how marketers are drug dealers and how the drugs that they're dealing, they don't actually have to give them out physically. They're produced in the human brain. And if you know what you're doing, you can elicit those drugs and cause them to be delivered into a person's body by their own brain. So the first drug that I want to talk about is dopamine. Now, dopamine is the drug of distraction. It's also caused by exercise. It's caused by romance. All these different types of things cause dopamine to be released in your system. And, when I was there, I remember specifically Garrett White. During his presentation, he had us doing a lot of stuff. So he had us standing up, he had us interacting with each other, he had us writing things down and then sharing those things that we wrote. He had us yelling things out at him, he was yelling things back at us. He brought people on stage, he had us, interacting with the people on stage. We're saying certain things to them, they're saying certain things back to us, and there was a lot of stuff going on. And it kind of reminds me of, on a even more extreme level, if you've ever seen a Tony Robbins seminar or if you've ever been to one, he has people doing a lot of jumping around, a lot of chanting, a lot of yelling. So if you think about exercise and all that movement, if you think about romance and all the novelty and different things that are going on when a relationship is romantic compared to when a relationship just gets slow and boring and nothing's happening. You're just sitting on the couch, watching TV, scrolling on each other's phones, maybe, I don't know what you're doing. But that's not romantic. It's boring, and it doesn't release any dopamine. So, dopamine. One way that you can release dopamine, that you can help to release dopamine in your audience is by doing regular podcasts. Another way that you can release dopamine is by doing Facebook Lives at random times. So dopamine is the first drug. I mean, think about this. People on average check their phone 73 times a day. That's the stat right now. If you hear this later, it could be even more than that. So you have to do something to give people that dopamine hit so that they're not trying to get it from somewhere else. I mean, I've talked about the time study that I do sometimes. I should do it even more, but I try to do it on a regular basis, especially when I get off track a little bit. I need to do it. The time study is something I learned from Alex Sharfin. He actually spoke on day 2, I think. But he didn't talk about this. He talked about it on another occasion. So the time study is where you set your timer on your phone for 15 minutes. Every time that timer goes off, you hit repeat, and then you write down everything that you've been doing for the last 15 minutes. And I realized the purpose of this exercise, by the way, the time study, is to help you to take accountability of your time and to know where your time is actually going. You have a record of it. So when I'm doing that time study, I recognize that I am tempted. Like after maybe I just accomplished some little task and I'm tempted to just, okay, I can take a break, look on my phone. I'm tempted to look on Twitter, see what news is going on. Look on Instagram, see what I can entertain myself with. Look on Facebook, see what all the gurus I like are posting. And I resist that temptation because I'm doing the time study. But if it wasn't for that time study, and before the time study, I was wasting a lot of time checking my phone over and over and over and over, just trying to get that dopamine hit. So people want that dopamine hit. They're going to get that dopamine hit. If you're a marketer, if you're an entrepreneur, you should be the one to give it to them. Give it to them by doing regular podcasts. Give it to them by doing random Facebook Lives. If you're at a live event, or if you're dealing with people in person, do it by getting those people to move around and do stuff and interact. So that's how you release dopamine, the first drug, into people's system as a marketer. The second drug, and this is the most important one, this is oxytocin. Oxytocin is the drug of connection. People will go against their values for oxytocin. People will break their relationships up for oxytocin or the lack thereof. People will go against their religion for oxytocin. Okay, so oxytocin is the drug of friendships. It's the drug that is released and causes a bonding between mother and child. So the way that you can release oxytocin with your customers or your clients or your ideal customers is through interaction. So for example, if you've ever been on a webinar, you'll hear people, calling, saying, who's here on the webinar? Tell me your name. And they say, hey, Lisa, hey, Mike, how you doing? When you do that, when you acknowledge people like that and you connect with them, they're getting that oxytocin, So I can think of a time where I called in to Scott Adams. If you know who Scott Adams is, on Periscope, he has a show every morning. It's called Coffee with Scott Adams. And, he's really into, political predictions and analysis. And he's also a cartoon artist. He makes the cartoon Dilbert. So I called into his show one time and he had me on there and we were just talking and having a conversation. And that gave me that oxytocin. I felt like that connection, so that made me feel good. So the way that as a marketer, the way that you can give people that release of oxytocin is by interacting with them, by acknowledging them, by saying their name on your show. One thing that I'm going to be doing soon also is you can have a web page and I think it's called SpeakPipe. But you can put that on your webpage and you can have people who listen to your podcast or whatever type of publishing you're doing, you can have people go there and they can leave an audio question. And then you play that, you splice that into your show, and they get to hear themselves asking their question on your show. Boom, oxytocin. So, the next drug I want to talk about, serotonin. Serotonin is the drug of status. So, how can you, as a marketer, release serotonin? Well, let me tell you, when I went to Funnel Hacking Live, they were trying to release some serotonin in me. And guess how they did it? I'll show you. This gives me that status. When I'm walking around with my ClickFunnels bag, I have that status. When I have the 2 comma, coaching shirt, that gives me the status. There's a bunch of other swag that they gave in here, that gave me status. So you get the serotonin from creating a community. As a marketer, you want to create a community for your tribe, and that's going to give them that release of serotonin. Exclusivity, like maybe you would only give out this swag when they come to your event. Or maybe you would have a private group, a private Facebook group that you had to purchase a certain product to be in. That is what gives people that release of serotonin. So serotonin, that's the drug of trust. That's the drug of openness. That's the drug of intimacy. And, a lot of these different drugs that you're releasing, they interact with each other and they can, even heighten each other if they're combined properly. So that is how the serotonin is released. Swag. So, there's one more drug, guys. The last drug is endorphins. So endorphins, this is the drug that you get, but you have to put something in first. So this is the drug that you get when you put in effort first. So of course you get it from exercise, you get it, when you're running, you get this drug released. As a marketer, one of the ways that you can release endorphins in your customers is by giving them easy tasks to complete. So when I was going through the One Funnel Away Challenge, one thing that I noticed is with every lesson, there was a checklist. And you had homework. You had like assignments that you had to complete. And when you completed these assignments, you would check off the task. You know, when you get the box, when you join the One Funnel Away Challenge and they ship you out a box, it comes with a workbook, and in that workbook you have all the checklist. And as you complete your homework task, you have that checklist. Another way, so if you're a marketer and you want to release endorphins in your customers or in your clients, you want to give them checklist. You want to tell them, you know, the things that they should do after they purchase your product, and let them tick those things off. You want to onboard them. You want to give them an onboarding call. You want to ask them to post things, ask them to share things. These are easy things that they can do, tasks that they can complete, and when they complete those tasks, they will get endorphins. So, for example, you'll notice that if you listen to the Russell Brunson Marketing Secrets podcast, he always says, if you like this podcast, take a screenshot of it and share it. And maybe he'll say, share it on Instagram or share it on whatever platform. And when you do that, that releases endorphins. So, I'll show you guys how you can remember this, because I know it's a lot of information. And I'll show you my secret cheat sheet. Look at that. Now, am I reading all that while I'm doing it? No, I don't even know why if I wanted to actually, guide myself through the process, I probably would make it a lot more simple. But every now and then I can look over there and I don't know, it's like a certain keyword will just pop out to me and it'll get me back on track. So this is the secret that I want to show you guys. Oh, this eraser sucks. This might take a minute. I want to leave that stuff up there. You know what? Let me try this way. Oops. I didn't want to erase that. Don't worry, this is going to be worth it. If you're not watching this on video, I'm desperately trying to erase my whiteboard, which is not erasing very good because my eraser, maybe it needs to be cleaned. But this is worth the wait, I promise. I'll just erase it all so I won't ruin the surprise. So this is dopamine. That's the first drug you want to remember. Oxytocin is the second drug you want to remember. Serotonin is the third drug you want to remember. And endorphins are the fourth drug. Did you notice it yet? The acronym is DOSE. So you're giving your customers and clients a dose of these drugs, and that's how you can remember it. So isn't that cool? Yeah. This wasn't really for today. I'll talk about this later. But if you read it, maybe you get a hint of what's coming. So yeah, guys. I got my robe up there. I got this robe from Australia, actually. Not that you care, but I actually I took it from the hotel. I took it from the hotel because I thought it was like, I don't know if you can hear me. I took it from the hotel because I thought that it was like for us, because there were regular robes and then there were like robes like that. And then so I took it and I was like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have took that. So then I called and then I was like, is it okay if I took those robes? And they were like, well, yeah, it's okay. It's fine. So I just mentioned it because it was in the shot. Weird, I know. Anyway, guys, The point is dose. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. These are the things that you want to release in your customers and clients. And you release them doing all of the things that I said. So dopamine, you release that by doing regular podcasts, by doing random Facebook Lives. Oxytocin, you release that by interacting with your customers and clients, saying their names, asking them where they're from, and just, it's the drug of friendship. So be friends with the people that are in your tribe. I mean, you should be friends with your people anyway. These are your people. Serotonin, this is the drug of status. So one way that you can give your people status is by swag. Boom, just like that. Endorphins, the way that you release endorphins in your customers and clients is by giving them easy tasks to complete. Endorphins are the drug that require some effort, and once you get people to put that effort in, they get the drug back out. So listen, guys, I'm working on something big, and I'm very excited about it. I'm going to be releasing it soon, and it's not completed yet. I'm actually going to be creating this with you. So that is one of the big benefits of it. It's going to be exactly what you need, and it's going to be exactly what you want, because I'm going to be finding out, everything that is possibly holding you back, and I'm going to be helping you with all of those challenges, obstacles, and roadblocks. This is all about storytelling. This is about the stories that sell in your business. Marketers change beliefs. That's what we do. But you're not changing anybody's beliefs unless you know how to tell the stories that break those beliefs. Because behind and underneath every belief that you have is a story. The only way you can change that story is with a better one. So this is something that's crucial. It's something I'm passionate about. It's something that I'm excited to share with you. It's something I'm excited to create with you. So that's going to be coming soon, and I'll be announcing some things about that in the very near future. And I'm setting up a page right now where I can get your feedback, and I'm very excited to hear what you have to say about that. So until then, remember, dose your clients, dose your customers, dose your prospects. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. This is Dave Anderson. I'm out.